Hey everyone, we are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we are talking marching band differences across the U.S. We'll also find out what made Woody say,
That's not so bad, when you first read the announcements, you think, oh no, we're going to lose them.
and why Sean said,
Oh, I haven't before, but now that it's like my gig, I think I'm kind of required to. I think I should.
all this and more, so get out on the field and we will see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Austin Hall, and it's my first time hosting, y'all. Marching band is different all across the country. There are so many different ways to compete, present, and create shows in the marching arts, and we like to explore every single one of them. This week, we have a great group to talk about some of the differences in styles and methods of marching bands across the country. But first, let's see who's on the sidelines this week. Woody, is marching band season over yet? You had championships?
Yep, marching band season is over. I am now already into the next mode already.
How'd you do? How'd the groups do?
Actually, this was a new group for me, and they finished 8th, I believe. They didn't finish last.
That's a win. Hey, especially for a new group. Hey, for a new group, not bad at all.
No,
it's only up from here, right?
Only up from here. That's what I try to tell them.
Absolutely. And Sean, who's actually going to be becoming one of our regular hosts very soon. How's the end of your first marching band season going?
Oh man, it was a great end to our season. We finished about 2.5 weeks ago. Feels a little longer, maybe a little shorter. I can't really tell. Definitely doesn't feel like it happened 2.5 weeks ago. We did pretty well. I think this is also my first year with a brand new group. We got 7th, and same feeling as Woody, not last. We got a couple other awards, which felt pretty good. But yeah, it's nice to have some of my evenings back. Other things tend to fill up that time pretty fast, but it's great end of the first season now.
Good. Got the foundation set only up from here, right?
That's right.
Perfect. Sherry Kuzel, we've had you on before talking mental health and the marching arts. How was your marching season?
Well, I've had a very interesting marching season because I've been busy trying to move from New Jersey to Texas. I worked with 2 groups in New Jersey. Both were, one band got promoted last year from an A class to an open class and mid-season, and the other band I work with, this was their first year in open class, same group in the same class group, good old 4 open in U.S. bands. One band came in 3rd at states and the other band came in 5th, so it's been a pretty good season, and now I'm ready to jump into the next season with my new band down here in Texas.
That's great to hear. I am really intrigued to hear about this A and open class thing that U.S. Bands has going on, but we'll have to save that for a little bit later so we can dive a little bit deeper into it. And we have a guest clinician on this evening. She's going to be representing the Northwest area. Please welcome Genevieve Gahagan. Hello, Genevieve. How are you?
Hey, it's me. What's up?
Doing all right? Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
How was your first marching band, or how was the season? How'd we do? How'd it go?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Where to begin? This is my first marching band season ever that I haven't been working like a soul-sucking day job.
Yeah.
But luckily,
wait, before we go any further,
oh sorry,
let's do the 32 count life story.
Oh my god.
We can wrap it all.
Okay. But there's gonna obviously be
how this works,
pageantry.
right?
Yeah, I do. We're gonna have levels. Yeah.
All right, we're going down.
Okay.
All right, 32 count life story. 8 off the mat. You're in.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Oh no, I think I have to go faster. The costumes. I'm dropping everything. Ta-da!
Okay.
Do we have more counts?
Keep going.
Okay. Oh, one more. Okay. How'd I do?
Wow. Okay. That was the most silent version of a 32 count life story that I have ever seen. So,
Show, don't tell, you know?
if you are only listening to the podcast, get on YouTube so you can watch this.
I have
Can
to
you
say,
sum it up in
Austin,
about 3 sentences?
it was really original, Austin. I have to say that. I've seen a
Stop.
lot of these.
Okay.
Can you sum it up in
Stop.
3 sentences for
Wait.
the people that are only listening?
Sean, can you actually say what was in the chat? Because I have a good anecdote that leads into that. And it's like...
That was an excellent Deaf Man's 32 count.
Yeah, we talk about that. Like, one of my awesome kind of like co-instructors at Century High School. This is a good segue. We love a coordinated transition on the fly. Was at North Salem High School in Salem, Oregon. I went to Willamette University and got a bachelor's in French there, and studied a lot of movement. And coming back from my 4th season of drum corps, which was, I marched 2 seasons of Oregon Crusaders, who are no longer with us for some really good reasons. We can come back to that later. I think that loops into some of the topics that we have. But then we won Open Class Championships in 2012. We had a super strong, invested, like aligned staff with a few toxic things that eventually got trimmed out. But some corps, if they can't take care of the membership, just should not exist anymore. Anyway, I'll keep saying that. And, you know, the more we talk about these things, the more I'm going to get hot, because it's all about the members.
Agreed, Genevieve.
Uh-huh.
As somebody who is the mental health counselor for one of the world-class corps, I totally agree.
I think about like the years I was a member of Oregon Crusaders, and then the decision strategically that I was able to go to a private college in Oregon whose school year lined up with the drum corps schedule strategically, right? I was thinking about these things when I was in high school. I was able to get into a university and pay for it because I knew that Phantom Regiment, my dream drum corps, started in May and ended in August. So you have to be way more strategic with these decisions when you're living in an area that just does everything different. The Pacific Northwest like finishes school in June and then we resume in September. So if you have a dream that you want to accomplish, but then you go to a big state school where you wrap up your finals week in the end of June, guess what? You've missed all of move-ins and you've missed whatever first tour. That was.
You have sound effects.
Yeah, we do. I'll learn them. I like watched like clips of the EPs in the little bit I had to prepare, but yeah, it was just like things lined up. I saw Regiment live in 2011, and then I saw them again in 2012. And like, yeah, I just I think that's a good place to kind of segue into like what the other topics we have tonight that we want to talk about. So
yes,
yeah,
I love the introductory insight. We got some news to get to.
We got
super big. We got a lot of news. We got a lot of things going on. So let's roll into the news. A lot of time. All right, Woody. We got a sad one to start us off.
I come to you with some sad news today. The Jersey Surf, former corps that I taught with for nearly 11 years, 12 years, something of that nature. They've decided to downsize their participation this summer to prepare for their 23rd anniversary and make sure all their finances are in order. Very similar to what Genevieve was saying. You want to make sure the money's in the right place. I can remember working there, and we would be on tour with some corps that should have gone home, but they stuck it out only to die at the end. Kids not eating. We would give them food, and so very smart choice. But they will be participating at a very limited schedule. They are having a healthy winter. They're going to do the North Carolina show, Night Beat, on July 30th. They will do the Annapolis show on August 1st. Surf is still hosting the awesome event in South Jersey at Rowan University. It is a very good show because everyone's in town. They'll be doing Allentown on the 5th and Edinburgh on the 7th. That's my birthday. And then heading to Annapolis for championships. So basically, they are bagging the first month and a half. Okay. That's not so bad. When you first read the announcements, you think, oh, no, we're going to lose them. But actually, they're coming in at the heat of battle. So maybe this might work out, huh?
So are they going to be competing in world class still, Woody?
Yes, they still will be a world-class corps. They're just downsizing their schedule. Instead of going to those early shows in the Midwest, they're just basically staying local. Actually, Austin, to be quite frankly with you, back in my day, there were always 2 tours. They're doing a second tour. Basically,
They were.
Yeah, they are doing second tour. I get it. I mean, money's tight. You got to take care of the students. I completely get it. It makes sense. But hopefully Jersey Surf can come back in full capacity in years to come. But Sean, what's going on with your story?
Yeah, so my story, Austin, is about the Syracuse game where the kicker, I'm not going to even name the names because the article goes into the names and the other team, and I don't want to make this more of a nasty mark than it already is for that person and that team. But it's an unfortunate situation where the opposite team's kicker felt like he had the ability to go on the field during Syracuse's marching band show, their halftime show, and start practicing kicks, start practicing for field goals. So he goes, yeah, pretty bad. He goes on and while they're literally playing, while they're marching and doing their show, he goes on and starts trying to kick, and it's a disregard for band member safety. It's a disregard for what it means to be in a band. It's kind of sad. That person ended up apologizing on Twitter, I think, but never apologized to the band. It's a shame. It's an example of how the marching band can easily be neglected or looked down on in the community that we are really for, which is obviously education, but also to support the community and to support the football team and to support the students in the community. It's a shame that people are easily so vulnerable, are getting taken advantage of. And yeah, there's no penalty for the other team of the kicker who was going on. I mean,
I'd be the penalty.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what their marching technique is, but I would switch from straight leg to high step and I would smash his ankle. You got to learn sometimes. I was telling someone about this today. We gotta clap a little bit more and bite at this shit because it's not acceptable. And frankly, dumbass coach is gonna let his guy who might be scoped for drafting go and run in the middle of the marching band when if I'm running past with my rifle, you're getting clocked. Oops.
Mm-hmm. After
don't be in my drill.
High school and college playing for them we wanted to be there anyway. Oh, disrespectful.
Yeah, and you're we're making the game fun.
Yeah.
You know, we're playing the music, we're getting the crowd amped. Like, what would they do without the band?
How many times do you hear about a movie that has a completely different meaning without the music? Like, that's what a football game is for so many people. Without the band being there, it's just like a completely different.
It reminds me of
different vibe.
those YouTube videos where they take TV shows and they just cut out all of the background like music, and it just
like the
turns into a horror
sitcoms.
movie, because you would just be hearing like their cleats like clomping the ground and then just like like slamming into each other. It'd be kind of like gory, like, oh my god. This is like they're fighting, but then it's exciting when you have music playing, when things happen and the ball goes in the right place, you know? Oh, don't get me started on this.
Yeah.
You see what happens the next time when they don't get the Hey song.
Right?
Yeah.
White song does not play.
The Mourn song, the Get Off My Pitch song is going to start playing.
What?
So
We need to be bullied more with these people.
Sherry, we're going to move on to something about UIL. What happened?
All right, so there was the Sherryland Marching Band and Sherryland Pioneer Marching Band, and there were allegations made by Porter Early College High School from the Brownsville School District, and she alleged that Sherryland gained an unfair advantage in the UIL Area G marching contest. So in Texas, we have all these UIL area bands, and the one thing in Texas that I am learning is UIL actually mandates how many hours the bands can rehearse. You can't go over it. You can't, practice at certain times. Rehearsals have to end at certain times. So the principal at Porter Early College provided photo evidence that Sherryland not only pulled students from class, but they actually went above and violated UIL guidelines and rehearsal time. UIL came back that they were aware of the rule violation and that it was addressed at a formal hearing at the local level, and the committee reviewed testimony and provided by representatives from Brownsville ISD and Sherryland ISD, and that penalties were deemed appropriate under the UIL guidelines. The case is closed. And the UIL Area G contest, both Sherryland schools advanced to the state marching band contest. So the way it works is in Texas is you start at your area, and then I believe it's the top 5 schools from every area go to states, and states are always in San Antonio. But yeah, I guess they alleged that they violated all that wonderful time that you are not allowed to rehearse in the great old state of Texas. I'm learning about all those, everybody's like, why is Texas band so good? Well, they have the class time, but really their outside class time, those afternoon rehearsals are very limited. Like, I'm so used to, hey, it's Saturday, it's a marching band show, we're going to come in and rehearse all day in New Jersey and then go to the show. You can't do that in Texas.
Right. Yeah, they do the 8 hours a week academic. They have a lot of academic guidelines with it and everything. And I think Whitney was talking about it. Whitney and Stephanie were talking about it at one point. There are, they've had to pull kids from the show 2 weeks before state.
Yeah,
it happens. But UIL is, yeah.
UIL's no joke out here. They definitely, I like it. I like that. In New Jersey, we're not the athletic, UIL is all the athletics in Texas. It's football, it's baseball, it's marching band. Marching band in New Jersey has nothing to do with the athletic departments usually in the high schools. It's sort of like, oh, wait, could we get the field today? Could we not get the field today? So that's what I like about being down here is that the marching band is part of the athletic department.
Right. And we can talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, we got a whole segment to talk about all the regional differences. It's going to be, I'm looking so forward to this. But one more thing, coming out of Utah, I got a quick news story for us. Most of us know who American Fork is. So not only are they like a very, very solid program, and they're getting more and more recognized nationally, but for the past, I think it's 6 or 7 years, the high school football team has made it a tradition to show up to one of their competitions each year. And I love it. They've been doing it 6 or 7. They've been doing it for 6 or 7 years now. The Today Show actually picked it up. There's been an article posted, and they were taught, and it was all picked up from a band mom who just happened to post it on Instagram. It's like, oh, I went to my daughter's band competition. She just so happened to be an American Fork, and and then she just took a video of the entire high school football team pouring into the back stands. And for those of you who do know American Fork, they're a very large group. Like, they have at least 250 kids. And they're very well known around the state of Utah for being the best in the state of Utah. It's very well known, and it's super cool to see the culture around the program. But not just from the students, but from the entire student body. If you have an entire student body and administrative and all that support, you're going to be successful. And it seems like American Fork has that figured out, which is super, super cool to see. And if you haven't seen a clip, they're incredibly good at what they do. And let's see, team captain for the football team, he says he's got huge respect for the band. Like, we love supporting them, and the band members love it, and it just creates a better environment for everyone. So that's my news story of the day.
I think that's awesome. I want to add. I don't think we need. Maybe I don't need to plug any high school. I know a high school. I used to teach at a high school that the band and the football team had this relationship. But I just want to say this for sure, and this is something I believe this applies to every high school dynamic. Is that it shouldn't take winning first place every single year for years and years and having this huge tradition. Shouldn't take that to get the good camaraderie between football and marching band. Like that needs to be there all the time. It's just it's free to be nice. It's free to be supportive of each other. It doesn't cost money. What costs money sometimes is winning first place. Having amazing staff and having awesome designers and having the props, it doesn't cost money to be supportive of each other, but that can go so much farther sometimes.
Absolutely. But we got to grab one more sip of water so we can get back out and rehearse. We got to go rehearse part 2, and we will see you back after commercial at the next water break.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
And we are back with our final host, who just so happened to be a little bit late to rehearsal because he was at his own rehearsal. Scott Ruiz, how we doing?
I think Scott owes us some laughs.
Yeah, we're good. I'm a little late to the podcast because I was at my own little rehearsal, but everything's good over here. It's a little windy and dry in Southern California. We get the Santa Ana winds in the fall. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but it's just kind of like normally we get the ocean air and the flow off of the ocean, but right now it's an opposite flow, so it's really dry air from the desert that comes out. So if I sound a little nasally and like I have a cold, it's because there's like no humidity in the air over here right now. It's like 20%. Pretty bad.
Dry.
So
Makes for some hard color guard, right?
I know that's when you see. I know they're having a little fires here and there. When you hear about Southern California fires in the fall, it's those winds that fuel those fires. So we don't like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, makes for bad air
USC's going
quality.
good otherwise, though, besides all
Yeah, it's a great season. This is our first season in the Big Ten. So we switched conferences from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. As you know, college band exists and rallies around athletics more than competitions and field show tournaments and things like that. So, it's definitely a change from teaching high school to teaching college, which is, it's wild in its own special way, but it's fun to travel. We just came back from Washington. We played UW. So
Hey,
this
go
Saturday,
Huskies.
yeah, it was cold up there, really freezing. It was raining a little bit. It was wild, man. But again,
Yep.
getting to travel around the country to different places now that we're in the Big Ten, we got to go to Minnesota, Michigan, Maryland. We just got a really interesting schedule than just traveling up and down the West Coast to play schools now. So it's good. We're about 370 in the band, and I have 35 silks in the color guard, which I'm in charge of the color guard. So it's a big group. So it's a well-oiled machine, but it is a Trojan machine. It's the staple here in Southern California. Great group, very active in the community. Obviously, being at USC, dealing with the students here and the culture has just been really cool. The last couple of years I've had the job here, so definitely a blessing to be working at a private school right now.
Yeah, so we're talking about Southern California. We're talking about everywhere else, like Texas, the
Yeah,
Northeast, the Northwest. So now what we want to do is we want to unpack the differences in how marching band is done across the country. We got representation from all over the country. Um, and if you're used to massive competitive programs or a close-knit, tiny community marching band, each approach brings something special to the marching arts. So let's dive in. Let's share some stories. Let's share some insights from across the country. I think we should definitely go in and start with Sherry on this because Sherry did just do a move from New Jersey down to Texas and is kind of getting a fresh take on everything and has that kind of like dual threat for this conversation. So Sherry, what are the main differences between New Jersey and Texas that you found?
The main differences are just the size of the programs. Like it's so funny when I've been talking about coming down here. My daughter's down here. She's a guard director down here. And I've been talking about coming down here for the last couple of years. And it's so different. It's like, Woody and and Jeremy and Sean. I was in New Jersey. I taught down in the Philly area. I was at Plymouth White Marsh for a while. And it's like down here, the arts are just like marching band is just supported, where in Northeast it seems like it's like tolerated by the
Yeah,
schools.
that's the dream down there.
Tolerated, most definitely.
Right.
And just the size of the bands, the program, the way the band directors are looked at down here versus what they're looked like. When I first talked to my friend Kevin Fallon, who's band director down here at Boswell High School, and he was just like, yeah, you're expected to be a successful band director down here. You're expected to make finals at area, go to states every year. Those are expectations down here. And in New Jersey, it's just like, let's just make it through the season, guys. Let's just hope we have the funding to put up a good program.
That's really similar to what we're facing in the Pacific Northwest. It's like a white knuckle, like, are we going to make it through this one? And we had multiple shows this season in the Northwest. It's kind of like a rite of passage, but they dump rain. And your silk gets wet, your equipment is slippery, your costume's soaked. We actually had a show a week and a half ago, the Century Showcase, the program that I've been involved with for the past 5-ish school years, pending some time off I took here and there. But I love those kids. it's part of the experience. Some of the craziest run-throughs I remember are similar torrential downpours in the Northeast where it comes out of nowhere. March in the Midwest, torrential downpour, and you're just like, some places it's raining, we got to go inside. But certain programs, it's raining, and we're doing color guard outside in the rain.
I mean, you guys deal with so much different weather up there.
Yeah, we do.
It's just, you pretty much, for lack of better words, you live in a rainforest.
Yeah, well, that's actually not true. So that's like a really good way to talk about the different climates and how that impacts your ability to do the thing you do. So one thing to think about, we have some really well-funded large programs that have access to a lot of money, a lot of students, and a lot of props. And they do consistently well every year because they can put on this kind of, one of my friends worded it as like a little bit catty, like the Taylor Swift Eras Tour on the field. And then there's bands that are like, we have like 4 flutes. We're going to convince one of the clarinets to play the saxophone. And then we're going to play really loud. And it's stunning, you know? So if you're a big program that has sunny weather down in Southern Oregon, which is on the cusp of Northern California, it's a different climate from like if you're up in the Puget Sound in the rainforest, you know, like it's so different. But it's beautiful, but it's challenging too.
Yeah. And I think that's also the difference I found down here. Like the band that I'm at down here now, they have an indoor. A lot of the Texas bands have indoor football field facilities. So,
oh my God, yeah.
When the weather's not good, they use the indoor football field, or when it's or the field house. When it's like band camp down here, August is way into the 110s, 115 degrees.
Totally.
But you're doing it in the field house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. And you have the climate informing like the approach, right? We're struggling with that right now because of the climate turning upside down. It's changed. So it used to be that, like, you know, when I was in high school on the Puget Sound in Mukilteo, Washington at Kamiak, it was rainy. We had snow sometimes, and we had hand warmers in our gloves, inside of our gloves, as we're spinning. And you got to warm up your hands, or you're breaking your thumb on your saber. But you persevere. We don't have facilities like that. The U of O marching band, who they're an integral part of the University of Oregon Ducks, like they get access to facilities. And so really the move is like those sorts of programs that are connected to universities that have facilities. It's just tough because how many do you have, and it's got to get into those places that have the stuff, you know? Yeah, I think like Scott, maybe you have some more context working with like a college program. Like what access do you have to like the stuff and the places?
We really, I mean, just again, the weather demographics much different here in Southern California, right? So when we start band camp in early August, we're lucky if we're dealing with like 85, 90, you know, which is kind of nice, you know, when you get the ocean breeze and it gets warm, but it's not a unbearable warm. So I'm really thankful there are a lot of shady, like open places on campus where I can take the Silks to rehearse the band. We actually just changed the format this year so that we were marching in the morning, doing sectionals in the afternoon, marching in the evening. It used to be marching, and then sectionals in the evening. So now, just in case it gets a little too hot in the middle of the day, everyone's doing sectionals indoors or not out in the sun blazing in the afternoon.
Yeah,
we don't have any field houses. We don't have any indoor facilities like that can house like, you know, the amount of students that we have. So, I mean, we do definitely have adequate facilities as far as like a stadium to rehearse in and different things like that, but it's definitely not on the level of like some other universities that do have field houses or indoor facilities and stuff like that. It might be coming in the future. You know, they are doing a lot of construction here for the football facility and things like that. I don't know if a field house is in the plan, but if it is, I hope we get to use it.
We are fighting tooth and nail right now in the Northwest because, like, oh man, there was a discussion with my high school group where the question was whether we were going to be able to be in a school to rehearse, a school at all, you know, because the high school will rent out to local leagues, and the leagues pay money to the school to host. I don't want to get too into the weeds with like damn, but I learned really early from mentors you got to throw that Title IX discrimination out. Like I I get hot. We got to practice somewhere.
I agree with you. And just kind of going back, and I'm just fresh out of teaching high school for over 20, like high school color guard for 15, 20 years. So, like, I've dealt with that facility issue of, hey, we need to have an indoor space for winter guard. And the school's like, oh, well, we have community sports and they're paying us, so we're not going to give you the space. It's like, you're not going to give the space to your students of the district, but you want to make money off of these other club sports. That I'm like, no. Like that.
We have students whose parents both. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Makes no sense as far as the priority level.
I am fighting that issue here on the East Coast myself. And, it's kind of funny because it's a new program for me. And the building athletic director is trying to tell me how this all goes. And I'm like, listen, it's pretty much like this all around the country, even though I don't agree with it, And I have 3 programs, and they're stuck in the cafeteria to learn an indoor program. And meanwhile, there's guys who come in and take the gym. They only may play half court, but they get precedence over the kid. I get the community. Oh, it's terrible. You muted there, Austin.
Hello, I'm muted. I'm not muted anymore. Overall, it sounds like that's a constant. The fighting for facilities, because we deal with that in Florida here too as well. Lots of facilities, like we did indoor outdoors here in Florida. Because we're able to do it, it's nice in the winters, we can do it. So that was kind of our strategy. Eventually we did find an indoor facility. It took a lot of work. It took 4 or 5 years to figure out, but there's a lot of places up in the north, the Northeast, the Midwest, they can't do that. They've got to find those facilities for indoor because it is consistently 30 degrees out. We're lucky here in Florida where it's 75, 80 degrees and it doesn't really rain in the winter. But it sounds like that facility thing is a constant battle for everybody. And I'm sure it happens in Texas too. But not quite, but maybe not quite as frequently.
Well, this coming weekend actually is talking. I was supposed to be staging Emerson will be putting 4 winter guards out, and I am staging 2 out of the 4. And we were supposed to stage the JV guard this weekend, and we lost the gym to the basketball team. So we will not be staging this.
You have the field house. Oh my God. Go to the
November 9th?
That's crazy. I tell you, I've had the same exact conversation so many times in the past years of teaching. It's like, holy, can I swear on here? Probably not. No. Okay.
That's a no.
Yeah, it's tough. But that speaks to the adversity and the activity. You have to fight for it. It's exhausting, but it's what makes certain programs special. When you do get the space, it's a win.
Well, and I think it's crazy that Sherry already is starting to talk about staging her winter guard when we don't even have our championships till right before Thanksgiving here in Southern California. Although I know in Texas,
the varsity team is going to WGI, and we have a minute 30 on the floor already.
I'm telling you. See, and now you understand why as SoCal people, when they want to have regionals in February, we're like, no, we're not ready in February. The local circuits, I believe. What area of Texas are you in?
I'm right in the DFW area.
Okay, so your championships is very early for the regional A classes. It's like the first or second week of March. So that makes sense as far as your timeline. Like for us here in Southern California, those groups or those high schools aren't staging until at least that week before Christmas, or not even after. Like the high school that I taught at for years, we didn't do our staging camp till right after the first of the year. And then we moved on from there.
I just left the Northeast and worked with a WGI high school group up there, and we didn't stage till Christmas break. So
yeah, Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
that goes
much the
back to the
timeline.
facilities issue. Yeah.
We're
It's
on a
Yeah,
fun.
that's
Yeah.
season
also
schedule here in New
contact.
Jersey. Yeah, December or so.
Yeah,
That's
December,
common for here.
beginning of January.
It varies, right? So I dropped in the chat, but I am going to be involved in a couple of the more like caliber groups. One is like a group that like I really am excited about. I have a friend who moved to the area, Zachary Dye, who decided to pick up and move to the Northwest by chance. It was like one of the first Phantom Regiment people that I had in the area. That's the thing. You're isolated out there. It's tough. But then when you get the staff together, you can start building.
Sean, are you doing anything this winter?
Yeah, so I've got my band director. So I've got my own high school's indoor group, but I'm also helping out with United Percussion. I'm a for ensemble technician for United Percussion WGI group. And I'm really lucky. It's kind of like my second home. I've been doing indoor I came from Upper Darby High School. My first indoor season was 2014. So I guess this is my 10-year anniversary of doing indoor drumline. And I love the sound effects.
Years, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, finally 10. Hit my first, baby's first decade.
Yeah. It's
But
a long
yeah,
time.
I'm excited. I got a lot of different things going on. My girlfriend, she teaches at United Percussion too. So the second group. So we're like, we're just all running around Timbuktu. Yeah, it's resources for staff and what different groups have to do on the East Coast. Very different. At least over here, at the high school level, a lot of times there might be a little bit of support from a school district if it's a public school, but a lot of times band parent groups are doing most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
People should be paid for their time, and that's like the hard thing is like, yes, this is a labor of love, but also
got bills to pay.
Hours and hours and hours. What is it?
It's so different down here from being when I was up, like in the Northeast. And I've been guard director, guard assistant director, visual caption head. It's like, here's your stipend. Your stipend is like, say, $5,000 for both seasons. Whereas here it was like, hey, you're going to get paid because I'm a certified teacher, $30 an hour just to be at marching band.
Boy, wouldn't I love to really settle in.
About 2 weeks ago, I was down in Louisiana judging a show, and I was with two Dallas band directors, and they were talking about the money being thrown around to the staff, like 60 grand. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
band directors down here make a full salary.
Yeah.
Between the two bands that my daughter does as director and assistant director, that's her living. And it's really not a full-time gig. It's teach class at two different schools and do rehearsals at two different schools.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about because the almighty states, everything was based around.
Yeah, you might say the way that capital flows, it's like an ism. Catch my jive. Yeah, the integrated positions at a school are so crucial. I think of a winter guard I coached for 3 or 4 years, Skyview High School. They also had past tense, a strong national presence. The person who's really integral to the program there is Patty Allinger. She was the dance coach at the school. So she's running classes, and then they have after schools, and then the dance team. But if those 22-year-olds that are coming back from those corps, they have to go to school, they have to work 2 part-time jobs, they can't pay rent, and we need them to be there 4 times a week to tech our guard, it's tough. It's the squeeze.
Scott, what are we looking like in SoCal, down the coast, resource-wise? What are we thinking? Or
In
what is
general,
it like? Not
in general, it all depends on the demographic of the cities here. So they're like Los Angeles, you know what I mean? Like LAUSD, like inner city schools. You're not going to find a lot of programs that will come out and do the Taylor Swift era tour kind of a thing, right? But there are pockets here, of schools that you could definitely tell have a little bit more financial support through, parents and funding and things like that. Because then they do come out with the Taylor Swift era tours, So it's a little bit of an interesting thing here. I judge locally here in the fall and also winter, and just to see the differences in some of the schools depending on what area they're from and what kind of support they've had for years. We all know that COVID changed a lot of that, especially with funding and different factors. Some schools came out of COVID just still trying to rebuild their numbers, and other schools came out like nothing ever happened. So it's definitely a different flow here. I know in Texas there's funding. Every school has pretty much the same kind of facilities. They have money for the band directors. They have money for staff, and I think that's wonderful. They have it totally figured out there. So kudos to Texas for having that figured out. But I think most of the Midwest, some of the other Midwest states, I've been to Missouri. The schools there that I've seen pretty much have the same kind of build as Texas schools, as far as like having the support staff for the music instrument overall. So it's just like I said, the financial game here and paying instructors. Like I said, it all depends on what district you're in and what city you're working in, and also, does that school have a name? Are they competing at the BOA level? Are they out of the area? There's all kinds of factors that go into that. So there's definitely and I don't know if inequality is the right word, but
inequity
to what instructors will get paid. Like you said, you have the really talented kid that's 21 years old who's getting a $2,000 stipend to be there 5 days a week and run marching band. But then you also have a well-named designer coming like 3 times a year to this school to design the show and write their drill, and he's getting like whatever,
$6K.
the big cash, whatever it is. And if they can pay it, they can pay it. I can tell you from my personal experiences, it was always a struggle for me, being an established like color guard designer, visual designer, to kind of like push these booster programs. Like, hey, like if you want me here, you want me doing this, like I produce results. Like you can't have a Ruth Chris steak for a McDonald's price. So that was always, the labor of where we do love what we do, but we also have to be financially compensated too. And that was a big decision, kind of jumping from booster run high school programs to actually coming to an established music program like USC. That was a big change financially.
Word.
So what you're saying, Scott, is that this money thing is an illusion, because on the East Coast, we look at the West Coast like all of you have money.
No.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on the area. It depends on the school. It's varied on the area, and if there's like parental support, and if there's money in the area, you're not going to find that like in certain places. I think that kind of is how most of the country is, where you have schools. They're a powerhouse school. They're a really good school. They're always going to have the props. They're always going to have this. They're always going to have that. And then you have, other schools that are just barely trying to survive with their instrumental program. With the funds they have.
So Scott, they're not all Ayalas out there.
No. But
that's what I'm saying.
Prop 28 did pass last year, and I know a lot of my friends up in the Central Valley and Hanford area, they're really benefiting from that money as far as buying new instruments. Same with them here in Southern California. A lot of them are buying instruments and doing certain things and able to actually allocate that money a little bit to pay staff as well. So that's really good that money's coming through from the state. So we're trying here in California. We're trying to do it. We're trying to kind of up the game and do the right thing for the arts here. But we're not on the level of Texas yet.
Yeah, it shouldn't like, you shouldn't have to, how do I want to phrase this? Like, I've taught the schools that have all the things I said about Skyview High School. I've taught the schools where the railroad tracks run next to your football field and you have to wait until like the Amtrak or whatever else is done rumbling before you can give comments, and like there's different things there. It's tough to teach like the privileged kids, because they don't understand that like some of the other kids got like they have to fight, and it's a weird like dichotomy between those two. So
and that's a stereotype here at USC. Like a lot of, you have all the spoiled privileged kids and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, yes, here and there are kids that come here. It is a private school, it's a private university, but really, because it's so hard to get into the school, what I personally deal with here, and that I've kind of had to change like my teaching pedagogies, is all these students that come in were number one at their schools, right? So valedictorians, really good grades, get accepted to USC, and now all of a sudden they're in a whole other pool with a bunch of other number ones.
Yeah.
So that dynamic is wild. as far as like teaching them, trying to give them basic skills. Some of them really get upset, if I'm trying to teach a drop spin and they've never done one and they can't get it like in 2 minutes. They're just like, I can't. Takes time. It's okay. She's been doing that for 3 years.
Sparking the creative juices. I want to jump over to my phone and be like, hey, I just heard this thing in this podcast and like, I think we should talk.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, that I think you deal with that a little bit more on the college level too, about just students coming from their high school programs into a college program and dealing with a whole different dynamic there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like there are a lot of differences, but to me, it sounds like there's even more similarities throughout most of the country. And for me, this is my personal opinion, minus Texas. They're on a different level in the best way possible. But we gotta jump to commercial. Gotta go hit the closer. So we're gonna go hit the closer. Grab your last gush, and we gotta do what are we doing next.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, your producer from On a Water Break, and here are your announcements coming from the box. While you're enjoying this amazing episode, don't forget our other episodes, including the one about Peggy Twiggs, the one where we go behind the scenes of the Olympics and the marching arts. We check out the first female drummers from Crossman. We also have amazing special features, including At Step Off with Jack Goudreau, Lost in Translation with Cynthia Bernard, and Behind the Lens with Chris Marr and Russell Tanakaya. Don't forget our other bonus feature, On a Water Break With, where we explore individuals or small groups. We talk to people like Eric Carr, Forte Athletics, and comedian Tony Deo. If you know of a story, or you know of someone that would make a great story, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, field staff, take it away.
All right, and we are back. It is time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
All right, Woody, let's start off with you. What are we doing?
I tell you what, I always think about this segment, and I think I'll bring it back to a little bit of what we've been talking about. This new program I'm at, pretty much 90% of the staff is volunteer, and it just really bothers me, that like I have to try to figure out a way to make the staff better. Obviously, to get the better people in, you got to have some money. Most of the people on staff that I have now are kids who graduated from high school who just really love the activity. But as we know in this circle, that's not going to get you very far. And what are we doing, people? I know you as a band parent organization are happy because there are kids involved, but we're going to be at a standstill forever. So I question, what are we doing here? That ties it back to Texas.
All right, Sean.
So my what are we doing is kind of in the same vein as Woody. What are we doing expecting bands to do amazing things with no support? Or little support. Or not enough support.
Ooh,
all those things. What are we doing? It's impossible to have expectations that are like your neighbors, but zero support, unlike your neighbors. We got to support our groups. We got to support our kids first. We got to support our teachers. We have to support our instructors. We have to support the entire thing. But of course, it's about the kids. But education is also about the kids, and we got to pay for that sort of thing. We got to make sure that we have the right people doing the right things for the students,
Yeah.
And whether that's establishing our traditions or whether it's paying for, good quality design or quality instruction or quality instruments, or just, having a good teacher that pace out the entire season. Just, we have to support our peeps.
Absolutely agree. I couldn't agree more, but it's about the kids. What are we doing not supporting our kids and making sure that they have the best experience possible? Sherry, what you got? What are we doing?
To piggyback off that, what are we doing not supporting the arts in general in schools?
That was going to be mine.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm going to come at it from the mental health perspective and the special education perspective, where, you know, it helps the child mental health. It really makes well-rounded students when they are strong arts programs in the schools, and there's just not enough of that in the country. And they're, you know, I know in the Northeast they're being cut left and right. So
heavy on the well-rounded one. It makes well-rounded students. That's my big takeaway. That was also going to kind of segue into my what are we doing. But Scott, you're next. What are we doing in SoCal?
I experienced this actually last night at a local band tournament, but band booster parents, what are we doing sitting in front of the judges box talking about other bands and other costumes and other shows and how you think your kids are going to score this and we should do that? Like, we can hear you. And I'm not sure if you know we can hear you, but you know, just to all the directors and instructors, tell your parents to be very mindful, very demure in the stands, and I'm sure they are when there are other people around. But when you're sitting, and you think you're sitting at the top of the stands, and the press box is here, and the window's right there, and you're just gabbing about XYZ band and compared to ABC band, and we should have gotten this score and that score. Yeah, it's a little hilarious. So, booster parents, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I mean, imagine if that stuff got picked up on a tape too.
Okay, but it does, though.
I know, and that's the thing. I've never heard it on a tape personally, but imagine if you're talking that loud during a performance, getting it caught on tape.
Okay,
talking
so
mess about the band that's on the field. Oh my, that is a nightmare.
Yeah, this whole the joke is hilarious here. The what are we doing is so funny, and I do have a good one.
I'm sorry, Gwen.
You're good. My what are we doing is why aren't we jumping up onto our feet and like screaming for our kids when they nail their shit? You're gonna bleep all the best words, but like they hear you. Like I make sure I didn't go to many competitions because I'm getting my like self-employed business up and running, so I have to be strategic about like when I'm there and what I'm doing. Like I'm not going to run warm up, but I'll go to championships and make sure that we're calm, cool, and collected. But like, damn, when I get up into those stands, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. They're going to hear when they nail their shit. And like, I'm, pissing off the band boosters who are huddled under their umbrellas. Like I sit down in front of them, like, I hope I'm going to scream. And they're like, yeah, as long as you don't block us. I'm like, are you joking? I helped to present this to you. So you're going to excuse me if I don't, whatever, deal with it, And then you hear that on the tape and you're like, what are we doing? Why aren't we all doing that?
Get up on your
feet. Love that for you, Genevieve, but just don't do that in front of the judges box, okay?
No. I'm doing that. I'm in the corner. No, I'm in like the top corner or I'm in like the middle. I'm not under the judge's window. Like,
honestly,
in my tape.
The audience will react to catches and things, but there are times, especially in the winter guard season, where instructors get so riled up and they're in like whatever corner of the gym is, and I'm just like, I'm trying to judge general effect here. And like, are you trying to add to that? Because I don't know.
Guilty.
Like, I don't know what's going on here, but I
am so guilty of that.
Yeah,
I would be froze if one of my instructors did that to me and I was in the middle of a show.
It affected you, so it was generally effective.
I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, but I will save it.
Everyone, set your equipment down. Gush and go.
But now, for my personal favorite part, we got to gush and go. Woody, what are you gushing about?
Man, I have to tell you how quickly, it's been a while since I've been fully immersed in a band world. And normally I only had to worry about a winter drum line. Now I have a guard, a drum line, and a winds program. And it just won't stop. Like, My gosh. So then you
Wait.
you spend an hour putting together a schedule for everybody, for all 3 teams, and you still get Mr. Woodward, are we supposed to be in on Thursday? Jesus Christ. So it's just, just got to get that off my chest. Read the schedule. Read the damn schedule.
Yeah, that's one thing that's a constant at every single high school in America with the kids. Read the schedule, please. Read the schedule.
It's not just the kids.
As different and diverse as we are from like the Northeast to Florida to the Midwest to Texas to the West Coast, one constant is kids don't always read the schedule.
But Austin, if it was just the kids, that would be okay. But it's the parents and this band. Who thought it was good enough for us to now involve the parents in something that they're just on the outside looking in, and then they read something that they know nothing about, and they start sticking their fingers in it. Get your fingers out of there. Stop.
You gotta have it so vague on the parent side, like practice. And then on the staff side, you're like, we're doing 5-minute breakdowns of, they don't need to know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you got a busy winter coming up. I don't envy you, but I envy you at the same time.
I live for it.
I do. I do too, but I do like a little work-life balance here and there. Who's the WINS group, by the way?
Oh, my WINS group? It's Collinswood High School. So I have 3 programs inside the one.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be looking out for them in the WINS idiom.
Very excited for that because as much as I am a drum guy, I'm more excited for my WINS program because the future is the brass and WINS program, not the percussion program.
Sure. Shout out to the rooftops. But Sean, what are we gushing and going about?
Yeah, this week I'm pretty busy. I got busy 2 weeks ahead of me, actually. I'm driving up to Rochester, New York tomorrow to get ready to perform at the Percussive Art Society International Convention in 2 weeks. So I'm going up to Rochester to do some rehearsals, and then next week I'm driving all the way over to Indianapolis, speaking of, to play a little bit. So I'm excited to take my band director hat off for a short while, just, on the weekend, not during the weekend, and then come back, teach all week, go back next week, do the gig, have a good time, see a bunch of old friends, and then back to changing lives, right?
Absolutely. Shout out Pasek. Well, you're gonna have to send us all a YouTube clip of that. We're excited to see it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna catch some Grand Nationals while you're in Indy?
Oh, I haven't before, but now that it's like my gig, I think I'm kind of required to. I think I should.
I think you should. I mean, it's right across the street.
It's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just start walking to Grand Nationals. I'll get there by the time it starts.
I'll see you there.
Yeah.
All right, Sherry, what are you gushing about?
Gushing about Crossman camps start soon with one this weekend in Houston. Can't go to there, but I'll be busy with the Bones team again and gushing that for the first time in the school's history, Emerson will be taking his varsity guard to Dayton after coming in third at NTCA National A last year. We've decided that it's time to get the team out to Dayton this year.
Exciting. What are you doing? What you doing with Crossman this year?
I am still their mental health coordinator, so
Love it.
We'll be out there working with the kids. I was on tour for a good portion of the summer last summer, and I'm going to start earlier. We're going to start doing some screenings at camps and stuff and just making sure the kids are good to go.
Love it. It's just as important as physical health. More drum corps need that. I will die on this hill. Moving on to Scott. What you gushing about?
Gushing about the marching band season here in Southern California. It's November. Everything is in full swing. I adjudicate for the Southern California School and Band and Orchestra Association. I'm headed to San Diego this Saturday for competition. There'll be competitions all over the area. Just seeing the hard work and dedication of all these young performers is wonderful. I'm humbled to be a part of it, humbled to be there to kind of give them feedback and be somewhat of an educator within their marching band experience. But again, it's just so cool to see all the groups out here culminating in the SSPOE championships that weekend before Thanksgiving. It's a lot of competition, a lot of fierce competition out here. It's great to see, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I got my first dose of Southern California band actually here in Orlando. Vista Marietta decided to make an appearance.
Yes, they did.
They were wonderful.
Yeah, I know their color guard staff very well. Really, a lot of good people that I marched with when I was at RCC Fantasia. So
yeah, I was
really happy for them.
They were really, really good. Like, I was genuinely impressed with what they're doing. Their auxiliary sections, both guard and percussion, were just they were next level.
Yeah, and that's one of those schools, again, going back to like the conversation about areas of the state where there's a little bit more money, there's a little more support. They've got the money and support there, and good for them. They run a great program over there, this Marietta.
They do, and I know there's a lot of other programs in SoCal that do the exact same thing.
Truth. So go band in SoCal.
Go SoCal band. Genevieve, what you gushing about?
I had to take notes because all I've been doing since our NWAPA championships on Saturday is gushing. The future is bright in the Northwest. We have a lot of people who are just really digging their 10 toes down. We're here, we're patient, and we're here for these kids. I think that we're trimming the fat on a lot of the bullshit that we're not going to put up with anymore, especially as women in the area. Like we're riding, we're doing this shit. We ride at dawn. We're going to make it happen. And now that I'm locked back in on band, I don't work a day job. This is my day job now. I'm hoping to be traveling. I'm hoping to be meeting some really exciting kids. Literally all I do all day now is build my tattoo business and listen to songs and come up with a show design. It's so cool that I don't have to grind my teeth at my day job trying to earn a living wage. I can just open up my sketchbook and text a 20-year-old who's very excited, who hasn't gotten that chance. It's going to be a really, really beautiful WGI this year because we work in a community that rises against adversity. So, I'm getting myself worked up, but I'm gushing and it's going to be really special. Wow. Can't wait to hang out with y'all in the national sense. I can't wait to see all the different people I marched with when I do attend some regionals. So I'll be attending WGI San Diego. I'll be attending WGI Dayton. If you are a 14-year-old and you love color guard and you see me, say hi and I'll say hi back, dude. I love this. It's kept me going through the hardest parts of my life. Is that a good gush? Because I gotta go.
Yes.
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Well, thank you all for coming to rehearsal this week. Thanks to our hosts, Woody, Sean, and Genevieve and Scott. Sean, I think your cartoon avatar will be coming very soon, so keep an eye out for that on the socials. And more specifically, when we launch season 3, which will be happening very soon. So listeners, please keep an ear and eye out for that. Sherry, where are we going to find you?
You will find me this winter at NTCA shows for a change, and not in Maine, in New Jersey, with the Emerson Guards. And you'll see me at the Dallas Regional and in Dayton with Emerson Varsity.
Very good. Where on social media can we find you?
You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. Friend request me. If you are involved with a drum corps and your drum corps is looking for a mental health professional, please reach out. If I can definitely do some consulting and also probably find somebody that would gladly help that drum corps in that area. It is so important that our students and members have not only the physical and medical support, but the emotional support while on tour, especially during move-ins.
There we go. Scott, where can we find you? Shameless plug. Go ahead.
Shameless plug. Well, I'll start with USC. If any of you are listening to this at a time where you know you're going to be coming to USC potentially and want to just join the band or have information about the USC Silks, which is our color guard here, you can reach me at my name, Scott Ruiz, at usc.edu. So if you have any questions or need to know anything about the program here, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to conversate with you. If we're talking about socials, I am going to plug my DJ Instagram because I am a DJ now. This, a long musical journey of, knowing marching band and color guard and now becoming a DJ. COVID afforded me the time to do that. So my DJ Instagram is retro, as in that's so retro, RETRO, Cub, CUB music, at Retro Cub Music. So you can follow me there, follow my music adventures as well as I entertain all the fun nightclubs here in Southern California. And I just actually DJ'd a gig in Spain. So now I'm international.
Love it, love it, love it. Genevieve, where can we find you at?
Yeah, right now, my baby that's allowed me to do all of this is my tattoo business. I love tattoos, and I love doing any tattoos, stupid memes. If you find yourself in the Portland area and you have a core tattoo or whatever BS that you want a drum corps person to do, shameless plug, hit me up. We've done some cool ones. I'm early in my career, so really any engagement is good engagement. Where can you find me? At Double Gemini Tattoo. That's all one word, exactly how it sounds. And I have the website, doublegeminitattoo.com. Feel free to Facebook friend request me, and just know that I'm working on putting together a website for these sorts of color guard things. So that's coming soon.
Surprise curveball. Woody wants a plug.
I do want to plug, Austin. So we put out a test market this fall, and I'm starting a company that is working with all these groups with all this equipment on the front sideline, and they don't know how to operate or anything like that. So most of the bigger teams, they know what they're doing. There are a lot of people that are buying equipment. They don't even know. All they know is the volume button on it. We put the system together for you. Or even if you have a small system, we get it to work for you. We don't encourage you to spend money. And it seems to be working very well in the area. A lot of people don't know how to put the mics on the instruments. Or if you teach a group, you just don't have time to do it yourself. You know it needs to be done. We come in, we work up a contract for you. We do your miking and everything for you. And if you need some service during the season, hey, give me a call. And it worked well with a couple groups we had this fall. So we're really looking to push that this winter. I'm very excited. You can contact us at Licks and Kicks. We'll put something together for you.
We love it. Love it, love it, love it. But one more thing. Don't forget that On a Water Break has our new YouTube channel. Now you can see our lovely faces and reactions to the things that we talk about. Go subscribe so you don't miss those visuals. They are not to be missed. And, of course, before you close out your podcasting listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share it with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Now go practice!
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.